these people in the House and Senate knew about the COVID-19 virus and about all the stuff that was happening before it was happening, because they get to know things before the public does. And these people were literally selling off stock because they knew what was going to happen. And not only that, but I think there is a bill that a couple of senators put up as far as banning House and senators from buying and selling stock. Same thing with their kids and like their wife or their spouse or whatever. It just needs to be. It's a huge conflict of interest at the highest level. Like, they should be getting paid their salary and whatever that comes along with a House and senator, but like they shouldn't be buying and selling stocks and getting paid from different businesses and stuff like that. That's just a total conflict of interest, and it is a huge room for corruption on the highest level. So here's something that I saw that was kind of interesting. Crenshaw on Congress trading stocks. You have no way to better yourself. I just wanted to warn you guys, trigger warning on this next article. When I read this article, guys, I really got mad, because it's like when you become a House member or a senator, it's an honor. It's a privilege. Like, you should always be humble about that, and that you serve the public. You're a public servant. It's what you do. Representative Dan Crenshaw was recently asked about members of Congress trading stocks, and his response was interesting. On the podcast All American Savage Show, the host brought up the Signal's recent article about Crenshaw's trading netting the 5th highest return in all of Congress. The 5th highest return. According to the report, Crenshaw was one of 35 members of Congress who beat the market in 2021 by trading stocks and options. He just edged out House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for the 5th place spot. Quote, I think it would be fine if you wanted to ban individual stock trading as opposed to ETFs indexes, said Crenshaw. I'm kind of neutral on it. This is the part that bothers me right here. Trigger warning. Quote, if you want only millionaires and billionaires to run for Congress, then keep making sure we can't raise our pay, unquote. He added, quote, just keep in mind that no one will run for Congress because you have no way to better yourself, unquote. I'll just let that marinate for a second here. So let me get this straight. The $174,000 a year annual salary is not enough for you, Mr. Crenshaw? Not enough for you? As a congressman, Crenshaw makes an annual salary of $174,000, well over twice the median household income in the United States. Members of the House also receive $900,000 allowance to pay their staff and cover office and travel expenses. Senators receive a much larger allowance. They can also deduct $3,000 a year for living expenses living away from their district. After 5 years in Congress, members are eligible for a pension as well, although how much they receive after retirement depends on a number of factors, such as how long they served. Crenshaw will pass the 5-year mark in his next term, assuming that he's re-elected. I have big issue with what he said. Just keep in mind that no one will run for Congress because no way to better yourself. I'm sorry. You're a public servant. You go there because you want to help people. You want to help your district. You want to help your state. Making $174,000 a year and getting all of those things that I just mentioned, $900,000 of allowance to pay his staff and cover all that stuff and travel expenses and so much more in retirements and just all of that stuff, that's just insane to me. And then he said, just keep in mind that no one will be able to better yourself. It's like most of the time, House members and senators are millionaires and billionaires already. I didn't know that you become a House member and a senator to better yourself. Like, what do you mean? You do that to serve people, to help people. What? On top of all of the perks of being in Congress, Crenshaw has written a best-selling book. The sales got a boost from the National Republican Congressional Committee, which spent nearly $400,000 on a bulk order of the book. All told, Crenshaw's net worth is estimated to be between $1.5 and $3.4 million. So Congress playing the stock market has recently come under increased scrutiny thanks in a large part to the pandemic. In January 2020, 4 senators dumped millions of dollars in stock after receiving sensitive briefings on the threat posed by COVID-19. Crenshaw himself has ran afoul of the rules when it comes to Congress and stocks. Last year, it was revealed that he had failed to disclose hundreds of thousands of dollars in stock buys, which is a violation of the Stock Act. It's a major problem, guys, and I think you guys know that already. Such trading brings concerns regarding inside trading and conflicts of interest. Crenshaw's stock purchases occurred in March of 2020. At the time, he sat on the Budget and Homeland Securities Committee. Congress was putting together a massive economic relief package. One of Crenshaw's buys was in Boeing, a company that lobbied for a more than $17 billion loan fund for companies critical to maintaining national security that was included in the relief package. In the end, Boeing didn't need the money. Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat from Arizona, and John, Democrat from Georgia, have introduced a bill that would ban members of Congress from trading individual stocks. The banned Congressional Stock Trading Act wouldn't completely prevent Congress from making off stocks, but their investment would have to be placed in a blind trust. So that's what I'm talking about too. They need to place everything in a blind trust. That's the bottom line. Like, the only money you should be making when you're a House or a senator or just working in government in general, like if you're a governor, if you're running for state office, like, you should only be making the money from the public service. You shouldn't be doing investments and making money from businesses. All of that stuff should go into a trust or a blind trust, and it should be so that there's no improprieties, there's no conflict of interest, there's no way of corruption. And I just think that we just have really crappy, lax laws when it comes to these people. A lot of these people, they're a part of committees too. Like Senator Burr, he was a part of the Intelligence Committee, and he dumped like literally $628,000 to $1.7 million in stock. And it's like, nobody bats an eye to that. No one in America should like have an issue with that. Absolutely, they should have an issue with that. I have an issue with it. It's a huge conflict of interest. And like I said, they literally know stuff before we do. So yeah, I hope that they pass this bill and get it signed. Paul Pelosi, dude, this guy's like 81 years old. He runs a venture capital firm, financial leasing services. It looks like he makes most of his money from major stocks. Like, it looks like Google. Like, yeah, I mean, this is like a recent like article too. Like, yeah, I mean, he's got like chip makers and Walt Disney, which is like a freaking crazy stock. There's a lot of different things in here. These people come in as millionaires and billionaires already. Like, I would say most House, most senators, most governors, most presidents, like, they're pretty much like, yeah, millionaires already. There's some that aren't. Obviously, like AOC, like, wasn't a millionaire coming in. Like, obviously, there's a whole bunch of different people.